to the question of, do we get the hot drops? Do we have any of the good fun times in front of us? Faye's going to get a comfortable start here, of course, but plenty more to be seen, and some newer names towards the top of the board here, Rich. I'm happy to be seeing it.
Yeah, it's good, and it's kind of reminiscent of what we kind of wanted. It's not what we expected; it's what we wanted. We want to see the skills that pay the bills from the teams that we know have more than capabilities to be able to do that. But most importantly, it's seeing teams that have kind of fallen at the wayside in more recent PCS performances. And honestly, like if it's a return to form, no better time to do it than the very final event of the year. They said this could be a very, very special one, and it needs to go out with a bang. And I mean, for some teams, it could just be that. I can see Sauna Boys and ETG, they're having a little look around. We saw some scuffling yesterday at Gatka. Could we potentially see the same again with Youth all the way on the other side behind the chopsticks? I very much doubt it now. Quepton forever. Just at the houses above them, but it's still quite close proximity and something that we definitely need to keep in the back of our minds. Circle hits, and oh boy, does it go into the water. A fair whack in play. And we are split between the river. That kind of cuts off Sosnovka Island. So it's something that it shouldn't play a huge factor, but we certainly can't rule it out. We've seen more weirder and wonderful things in PUBG in the past. Fair's home territory, Pink Pony, inside Milter Town. That's a rock and a hard place. You've got Shift W to your left-hand side, face to the right, and then red line above you if you want to try and take a northern rotate. Not that you should be going too far at this point with that circle anyway. But, for everyone else who's basically in and around Milter area as a bigger area, I think you're in a good position at this point.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of where I'd specifically like the end to be. I do like Milter endings. Lumber, always fun. Shelter I used to love, but we don't normally get like the top and bottom of Shelter. It doesn't really go. Do you know what? Send it to the island. Just do like the mad hard shifts that shouldn't happen. Send it over there.
Something awful.
That'd bring me joy.
Give us this.
Yeah, just here, right here. Like somehow it ends up here. I'd love that. Oh. Glorious
you need
times.
What?
Very unlikely.
Probably double hard shift to just get it over the water's edge, maybe.
Yeah, it'd have to be mad. Like it's not. It's probably not going to happen, but I can dream. A prison ending? No, I don't like prison endings because everyone ends up on the rocks around it. Trying to think through. Where's your favorite ending so far, at least within this circle, that we could potentially have? Including hard shifts, like mad hard shifts.
I'll be honest, I really enjoyed the relay station. The little mini Milter power, if you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's good because it's quite hard to defend with it being so big and... I don't think exposed the right word because you can certainly sit towards the southern side of it and have the little plateau all the way up top, but it's so hard to defend and people can just crash and get inside. But when teams do it right and they hold on for so damn long, your communication has to be on point. You have to have every single angle covered. You have to have your head constantly on a swivel. You have to be fighting people off against the walls. And the teams that do successfully take control of it and defend it until the very latter stages of the game, I think it takes balls of steel and good communication to do it, to be fair. And I'm always a big fan of seeing them come into play.
Okay, we can see. Tornado energy, quick to move. No, I'm with you. Quick to move here. Tornado energy. I'm wondering where they go. They get quite an early choice. They might. I don't know. Actually, no. They could get the little compounds, the two buildings, just slightly further east of their current position. They're maybe scouting right now. And I love the fact that they discussed. They definitely looked over what worked for Northern Lights, and we were discussing that. I very much remember discussing with you. And someone like Northern Lights comes in and not necessarily shakes up a whole lobby, but they do things right. When do people start paying attention to them and having to take that on board, and it doesn't have that same shine to it? It's not this new and unknown. It gets worked out. And I love the fact that even other teams are going, oh, we like what they did, or how they potentially scout and how they potentially play with this, X, Y, and Z. We implemented it. So, you know what I mean? It's this really nice evolution of the kind of meta that comes with even just how teams approach certain scenarios. Northern Lights definitely causing a little bit of a stir when they initially kind of sprung to the forefront, but we do see what could be a stir happening over on the bridge. Northern Lights could be heading across, and on the other side, it's Chris already there. Now, they're a little bit deeper. They're not on the first contact point, but they're a little bit deeper down. Kai's there, Chris is there. Now they're going to be heading towards the ditch, I imagine, because if they've seen a car, if they've heard a shot, yeah, they've got to pull up and deal with this.
They could get out of danger here, could Northern Lights, and that's by a third party. Someone is shooting at Kai from a very long distance away. You mentioned they weren't ready for this one. They were heading towards it, or maybe even not so, and just kind of wandering by, but then heard the vehicles late on. First nade, first contact. Perfectix goes down. Kai's position now well and truly noted. Brexco can support from the opposing side. Flushes, finishes, job done. Now he needs to be careful. Don't get greedy. Don't get overzealous and just go too far that you're out on a point where one of these players takes you down in response, or someone gets you from distance, just like that. The response is there. Now the tables have turned and we're kind of aimed up into an even game here. The bombardment will continue. Zocker's trying to pull this one's back. The vehicle gets in the way. Could have done with pulling that one up in front of him, but Brexco is there to try and do just that, give them a boundary to play off the back of. And is he getting aggro on this one? He's pulled up pretty close. I'm quite surprised he's tackled this head on, Lauren.
Yeah, it's a bit bold, isn't it? A little underhand there.
Yeah.
Brexco trying to draw a line in the sand here. Hold that push point, make sure no one goes further forward. A couple of shots coming in. And this could be another team. This could be anyone firing a fire. I don't think that was Shift W landing those shots, so that could have been plenty of others. Now there's further problems. The bystanders will hear this. Now they're on the southern side of the island, so there's other problems. And Batulin's attention is split between, you know, two very, very good teams. And now you're seeing Liquid came in with a shot towards Brexco, but the Pink Ponies instantly trade out. And that's, again, very unorthodox. I don't normally see the likes of Liquid getting involved this early. Normally it's, let's get that center point, maybe a nice 2-2, but they've really gone in quite soon on this. This is going to be kind of causing a massive battle to potentially happen here. That's going to go on for quite a long amount of time.
You can see with the X-ray that Shift W are just bailing on this one. That's because the shots that are coming in from behind them, they know it's open, they know it's exposed, so they just want to try and get into a better position. There's no point in playing more useless lives and wasting them. They've already lost one. The biggest problem now for Northern Lights is the fact that there is a team behind them. It's on the bridge, it's up high, it's the bystanders, but they're shooting straight into their back. That's actually a belting shot from Chris to at least pause them for all but a moment. Allows his team to regroup, and they'll take the 3-stack building in front of them. Northern Lights now just need to get into the vehicles and get gone. You've got a small window of opportunity, a small avenue of approach you can just at least fly by and get out of that small area that you're in and just being shot into the back from the bystanders, because they're holding point. They're not moving. They are drilling them continuously and just keeping them at arm's length. If Northern Lights stay their feet, unfortunately, it means that Na'Vi gets to set up shop and kill them and then camp out the bridge and remove the bystanders as the next victims that come through. Ents all the way to the top. They're on the slow game. In the north, coming past Yasnaya. Over by the west, you'll see ETG and the Sauna Boys again. A little bit late to the game. You know, slow and steady wins the race. WS, though, could be in for a bit of a treat. They're heading forward and Omakan are directly in them. They're above the prison area. They'll be watching all of this and they'll be trying to keep them back. Page begins to open fire. The peacocking will start. This is my territory. Stay away. He does have teammates that are in... They're not with him, but they're certainly within distance at least, so they can keep bigger ground control, which I'm a big fan of, and it's something that Omicron will do quite well earlier on. Circle hits. It goes central, and it keeps the head of the pack and the main head of players square and center.
I'm kind of... I'd really like to... I wish I could talk to the desk sometimes, no, and I'm sure you know this too. Is this a normal rotation for Liquid? It feels weird to me that I'm seeing them in Milta, and just this early. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I feel as though they play a little bit different to this. But for now, it's got them in a great position. They can hold a very centralized area that, you know... Hello, desktop. Oh, goodbye, desktop. I was so excited. But we will be seeing everyone else kind of hello. Good English, Lauren. Heading in towards a circle. Sauna Boys and a couple of others going to take a little longer, but I want to see what the bystanders do with this as well. The Northern Lights are kind of locked to this position. Who shuffles in what way? Shift W got themselves out of the position that kind of Liquid took over in a slightly less committed manner. So Shift W have a little bit more, you know, a couple more options to look towards. DA deciding the shelter was where they'd like to head towards, and the Turkish team showing that they're very much on point today, and those rotations have been quite good, honestly. The decision-making, the IGL, you know, the calling has been good. Sadly, they won't get this kill. They'll probably go towards Tornado Energy, if anyone. And the mad spam towards the end. One more bullet would have done it. Forever's made it. Bloody hell.
I have no idea how. I suppose the new
Same.
car mechanics not going up instantly when they're just... You got your 5-second pause before the explosion does somehow just save his life this time around. But ETG still have all 4 players up, so he's into a position where his teammates might be able to work off the back of him. If not, he's just in no man's land because Tornado Energy do have this pretty well and truly locked down. There's no way for him to formulate anything. Maybe ETG can... No, in fact, they can't. I'm thinking they could try and strike Quizzy and Co on the side of the road, but they're in the building and fortified down. So really, he's on his own. Maybe he gets a quick headshot on someone that's out of place and being a bit too overstepping their boundaries. Gets a very lucky shot, if you will, and a small window of opportunity to do so. Sauna Boys have decided to not get involved with this one. I've just seen them on the northern side of the circle. They saw ENCE and DA. Just so you're aware, Squeaky is sitting outside of the circle purposely to literally watch for anybody that comes in late game and protect his team. Jim Bob with a kill. Knock at least. Batooling goes down. Northern Lights have been having a bit of a difficult time, and they're kind of entrenched where they started off, unfortunately, coming across the bridge. They got held back by Shift W, then they've been held back by bystanders. Now they've been held back by Liquid. It's difficult times for them. They're still on their feet at least, but their gear must be looking a little bit battered at this point. They've not really been able to make any hard ground.
No, I'm with you, and you're seeing Liquid maintaining this position and not just finding Northern Lights, but this is probably a flush too, and it does go their way. Maybe being a little bit more proactive, and I like this from Liquid. I'd rather see them not just kind of try and cruise through under their normal speed, which a lot of the other teams are currently at. They're not, you know, super subpar to anyone else. They're sitting pretty much middle of the table. I'd like to see them get proactive early, because we know what happens when they get into those late game scenarios, late tournament scenarios, and they pop off and they go mad, and everyone's like, why couldn't you do this from the start? It's a lot easier said than done, of course. And that nade was very fortunate to not find example. Or unfortunate, I guess, depending on which way you want to look at it. And a good circle coming in for the likes of Liquid, Na'Vi, Pink, Ponies, FaZe. The bystanders not too bad off either. They'll get at least the safety of the very likelihood of no one coming behind them. However, the Wanderer gets the emergency meeting button hit this time. No funny business here. Sauna Boys on the way past going to do perfectly well. Good little pickup. But we'll see if they make it through cleanly for the rest of it. They've taken a fair bit of flack on the way, so going to try and pull up, get a couple of shots back. But you are seeing a kill coming in towards, I think it was off-string there. Yes, so knocked down. And these guys are isolated for WS. They're not that close by.
The fight's been forced, unfortunately, for the Sauna Boys. They couldn't come in on the northern edge because of ENCE. They then moved a little bit more to their right. They couldn't come in because of Omicron. And then you've basically got WSA, and it's like, well, what do? We have to make the best of a bad situation to be in. They have removed one player, but as they stall, as they stop to gather their thoughts, some of the tires were gone off the back of the vehicles. Like, this is now why, unfortunately, they are dropping. Nuki goes down. If they lose one from this, I think it's the best of a bad situation. Zocker has fallen. Uber and Itzy have found him, so Shift W trying to find a new home within the area of the circle. Small amount of minuscule movement, to be fair, but between them and Redline, they are stuck just off the backside of the Longin area near all the dead trees. Bystanders will be working their way in slowly but surely towards the southern edge of that fight. Enderlost slowly creeping up side of this hill. Smoke goes down for Alia. Huth on the move. Actually, and I'm very surprised at this, and I think it's definitely worth talking about. We think where Tornado Energy was and how they were kind of set up, ETG have now encapsulated Tornado Energy. They've gone up and around all the players off the back of it, and they've actually removed Alia. He's gone. Squeaky's shooting at people out in the distance and just keeping them at bay. This is what he's been doing for the last 5 to 10 minutes of the game. WS still just trying to find a better entry point. Doesn't happen whatsoever as Smash just eliminates one on arrival. But honestly, like, ETG have clawed this one back. They've taken Alia down. To be held back for so long by Tornado Energy, it's a real turn.
Yeah, I beyond that, I would like to see how DA get themselves in safely and not get too much attention. The Sauna Boy is going to receive a lot of eyes from TSM, who are currently entrenched, literally in the trenches, as the Finns try and make their way through. And Misa's having troubles all across the board. Redline, careful to not overextend here, boys. Yeah, that's a little bold. Got a little too ahead of himself. Gets a little bit of fire back towards him, so Marv on the knees, and DA still going to find some damage. That's actually on Squeaky, so they've kept position. Now, Omakun's going to get on this fight. Look at this. You have now someone in the middle, Omakun on one side, and then you have DA a little bit further back on the other. Now, Paige with some serious damage coming through. Nice work with the Org. Just holds it down, fighting Tixu as well. Now, Rustamor would love to get back into this, but you can see how widespread Omakun are. They control so much of this hillside, you're not going to get a look in edgeways. So now, Omakun control the north. Now, ETG will be called into attention from this, and I still wonder what DA do with this information, but this now goes to a bigger picture. Look at Northern Lights, look at Na'Vi, look at what remains of WS. Poor old Kemba, desperate to try and make a way in. It's not easy. The field, the infamous shack, will potentially become a conversation at some point because it's getting quite centralized here. Still a lot of the north in play, though.
Youth with a big boy gun. I'm assuming I didn't quite catch. He's going to have level 3 gear to boot with that because clearly going off the back of a drop. Circle should have been pre-read by a lot of these IGLs right now with the Milta Bay being in play on this circle perfectly. You know exactly where the water's going to push it. Bystanders will go for the last-ditch attempt shack and build themselves a little wall while doing so. Can you get inside? That is one hot zone. If you can close the door and get away with your life, then fair play. You've made it in. It's something. It's quite central as well, so to have 3 players and take them to the late game, I'm totally fine with it. I'm totally okay with it. Next circle should be favorable to them, at least. But that is, yeah, you can't do nothing now. You just have to pray for your dear life and hope that you can make it to this final circle and then come out when all the teams are just battering one another. There's still heavy action towards the north.
Rich, is it time for DA full send?
Where do they send it to, though? There's no real... Apart from a ditch they could go to, there's no priority compound they can take.
Full send, full send, DA full send. I don't know. If they do, they're going to be a whole lot of bystanders, so I'm not sure. There really isn't much, is there? God, they've gone for the trees, that's it. Oh, there's a lot of people watching their way. I don't love it. There's a couple of rocks to try and push yourself against to make yourself seem a little smaller of a target. I guess it keeps them safer. I guess TSM can't see one side of them, but this is far from ideal.
They may have been looking towards the shack, then realized with all the vehicles outside of it, there's no point in even going for it because you want to, if you're going to do it, you want to enter it cleanly. Even one player that just gets some knocks, it means that everyone else, TSM or Liquid, can pick up bodies and free frags. This fight towards the north still slowly unfolding. ETG, I'm surprised they've managed to keep 4 alive. They've done so well to be able to just get themselves out of harm's way. Smash goes down from the pink ponies, so finally their position has been noted. You can hear bullets just chipping away slowly but surely. And the one thing we have to note from this, Lauren, is that continuously they are just bleeding smokes. Utility is what's keeping them alive. Once that's gone from them, like, I don't know how they hold on. There's just teams on so many different sides.
It might be to play a unfavorable percentage and hope for the best. There's somewhat stability now in this circle. No one's going to lose life in rotation. Oh my. Just chilling out. Feels DA, man. Feels DA. I like that.
It's that moment when you want to make sure that you throw the real nade and it's not a, you know, it's just oops, wrong nade. Oh no.
Guys, dropped a nade. Guys, run. Oh god, if a nade came through, could you imagine? Oh, Merce been found. Yeah, I mean, so this is the thing. You could either lay here and just get peppered to pieces, or you make an unfavorable play, which is we can send it somewhere and hope for the best, because this is not going well. They decided to just try and stick it out, and it's not gone well. Yes, they get center point, but this is kind of how it tends to go. So, they will be eliminated, taken down. You know, is what it is. Now, what I'd like to kind of highlight beyond this, though, is traditionally we see this kind of end towards the fields, right? It's why that shack has become notorious, that bystanders currently hold. There's a couple other positions in the field that can be picked up later circle once some of those extremities that have vision on it get removed. But also then you look at where Clib currently resides. Now that's an incredibly good position as well. That's normally the fight that comes down to the last two, if that's the case. You can see the very fine angles they were working with to take down DA, but these players are all very good. So you can't be surprised when people find these sort of angles on you. Now, beyond that, though, you look towards FaZe. So those are your kind of 3, I'd say, who are currently, if it goes towards what we know, in a very strong position. However, with the changes in the north, I'm curious to see how this now develops, because, again, TSM could be in a wonderful spot. We've seen some great fights up there, but whether or not that becomes a favorable position for the circle, yet to be seen.
Tornado on the other side will probably regroup with ETG. They've been in fights various times throughout this game thus far. especially with the vehicles now. Positions will be made aware of. Navi eventually have to come out and fight up against Pink Pony. At the moment, ETG look like they can try and wrap onto this one and get the upper hand onto Tornado Energy. See a bit of damage coming through from a different player as well because they have a much deeper angle into this. Northern Lights, slowly but surely, will eventually come out from their hiding holes. WS also in the same. Good response from Quizzy. Answers back. Quepta with 2 HP gets the job done. Fantastic response to keep this one alive. Nades will begin to unfold from the side. Nothing found just yet, and he has to keep running. Can't even heal. As soon as the blue touches him, he will be a dead man. Marv on to kill you, Kai. Last player goes down from Shift W. 13 position for them. Huth giving up to the blue, and that's because of the knock that came in earlier on. Not a big problem. Senya, though, onto Vampire. So from distance, they remove one player outside of the windows. This gives Na'Vi an opportunity to get up against the walls.
They've got to get in there. They're just trying to send every nade, every bit of utility in towards this to try and give them a second or two. Orange and Tab still alive, trying to make the damage happen, but you got... I mean, Vampire is knocked, but they could potentially get him back up. Besto trying to get Senya back on his feet. Time going to be a factor. That is not a safe area, and you can see the preemptive smokes there to try and create a path for them to instantly move forward. So if that blue touches them, they're dead. So, Example now forced to fight as well. He might decide to back away if he can. Yes, he does. Now, the Tab's actually found an 8 towards Archie. So whether or not that's 2 now knocked for the Pink Ponies, or if it's just simply 1, we're yet to find out. But Etiquette's in all kinds of trouble, in between a rock and a hard place. TE down below, and now the team kind of laying down the fire from above. And Na'Vi are looking like they're successfully taking this compound from the Pink Ponies, which is quite surprising. They had hard cover to play with. And once again, that shack becomes the most paramount position on the map. Melman still in the fight towards the north. It's moved away from all these teams. It's time to frag out, boys. This is what it is. You will not get in, you know, a full squad. So let's try and get some points on the board, and they do just that. Nice work between Melman and Example. Very quick on the trigger, as T-Bone does fall. Iroh also doing well for himself there. Now, we got to look at the circle overall in a second's time, and I want to quickly highlight, yes, that Omicron and T fight is going to go on, but look at this. Now, Liquid, Bystanders phase, as I highlighted, become the big names in here. TSM could arrive and make a bit of a noise for themselves. Northern Lights is going to be tricky to leave that area, very visible across the board. That's why Uber and 80 are probably still in that position. This fight in the north is going to come to an end soon, as Na'Vi are going to turn up here and potentially just sweep everyone aside. And they've done just that. Melman, Example, go down. Uber just found Batulins, watching that position as we noted. And that's going to become a bigger issue for Northern Lights. They cannot easily leave this area. Yeah, okay, we go to the left. Liquid sees us. And right now, Senya sees everything in the north.
There's no breathing at all for Na'Vi. They've initially just taken the compound. They worked their way through circle updates, and they have to go again. They've moved into a position that they can capitalize and remove Omicron as they come down from the north. There is danger, though. Yort's actually overstepping his boundaries and working his way outside of the shack to get some shots into this, and I don't blame him. If he can pick up some free frags, then why the hell wouldn't you? Circle does come in, does the damage, and removes Omicron from the game in 8th position. Orange half HP. Senya, unfortunately, Tab is down. Back on his feet, alive and kicking, but now positions have been noted. Again, with the vehicles there, it wasn't a guessing man's game anyway. You knew that there was going to be a team lingering in that shack. Liquid, they can play with a ridgeline that runs outside of Milta. As it just dips into the middle of that field, they can play it with ease. And now Navi's position, moving up more towards the central side of the circle, it becomes so much more easier for them. TSM have a full eye line into this. And look at that, they're even getting the vehicles, and they're tackling this. They want to get involved. They're going to take them face on. This is a fantastic push from TSM. If it works, it will be even better. Someone's attacking the shack. What is this? Liquid's going off on one. They're clearing out the bystanders. One good molly inside there will spell disaster. But Navi's turned up as well, Lauren. This is utter chaos.
Everyone knows this shack is just death, and James is going to confirm it. Bodies litter the floor. And if he goes in unawares and doesn't realize there could be someone else here, Tab might get the best of him. Now, does James play this right? There's smoke, there's mollies, there's bits and pieces everywhere. Tab's unsure what's happened, who's where, and now the fire's still burning. He's got to be careful here. He's inside, but did he make noise? I think he did. Tab now might be noted, and another nade's about to be posted. James is sending teams just absolutely out of here. Tab is tagged up. Another nade. Dead one this time allows James to get closer by, and that's going to be a beautiful bit of hip fire. And that's exactly what you wanted from him. And now James controls the most pivotal part of the map, at least in the last circle. This has moved further east, and TSM have won the fight up against Na'Vi in the north. TSM control the northern portion. FaZe dominate the east, and Liquid over towards the west, and Northern Lights outside of the circle.
I'm quite surprised at this one. I expected to see that shack in play for a lot longer, to be fair, but The circle does pull it outside of the fields, and we have to hop on board with TSM. They're top side of this. They have the best position. It's not inside, and that's the crucial thing. That's why they have to take a fight against FaZe Clan, or at least do as much damage as they can if they want to work their way forward. That's a pivotal position to take a hold of if, by some chance, they can take control of it. But it's easier said than done. Aitz's position gives him full vision, full overwatch of them working their way down that mountainside, or hillside, if you will, not a mountainside. It could be a mountain task, to be fair. Top 4 comes in, as unfortunately, Ibis does go out. But look at that. Could you ask for a better final 4 teams in the circle? It's only FaZe with 3 alive.
Oh, Vod, you galaxy brain player, but does get found by Fuzzface in the end, who's waiting patiently to get picked up by Batulins. Northern Lights battering their way through. They are in no man's land. They're in the middle of a goddamn field and they're still finding kills. FaZe just got crashed in the end. Gustav still stands and desperate for a bit of a heal to come off, and he gets it. But he's feeling so isolated here. He does have the support from AT from afar, but those nades feel like there's a time limit until they hit so perfectly. Fex and Iroh posting them from a mile away. And now we wait and see what this circle looks like. Liquid, prone down, desperate for any piece of cover to come in, just to keep them that touch safer than before. Northern Lights in the middle of a field. They've got a couple of hay bales, and that's it. Now with the floor on fire, and if FaZe, no one is safe. No one is in a strong position. Everyone is feeling under the gun here.
TSM and FaZe are just knocking the hell out of each other. This is a bit sketchy for Liquid. They've done well so far, but the very unexplained, I say unexplained, it's there's nowhere else really to go. They've been clutching at straws this entire map. Northern Lights, the unorthodox, I will say, position to be in now. It's the issue that Team Liquid are going to be dealt with. Clib, or even the boys from Team Liquid, if they can just step up outside that car and get a banger of a headshot, give them some breathing room, give them something. A lot easier said than done. Could be an easier task for FaZe if Aitzzy nails the shot, which he does. And you know what? TSM's like, I can't even help you. We need to get out of this one. But does Vex know what's coming? Does Gustav knows what's coming? He does not. Ram raided out of the server. Vex takes control of the rock and just absolutely mashes him into the ground.
I cannot believe that. And again, this is some of the more established, more experienced teams towards the end here, so you do not expect mistakes to be made. AT's going to find Iroh, get that point in his pocket. We're going to watch a replay back here. AT's going to have to find a way into the circle eventually. He's kind of locked in this compound. There is a touch of area he could shuffle into, but it's not great. Northern Lights, similar scenario. They are not in the new circle. Close as they may seem, they are not in. So this is what's going to happen. They have to make some mad moves, try and make it count, and Vex is trying to make the points while he can. He's the only one alive for TSM, and he's still doing work. Now the Northern Lights get piled in upon, and surely this is going to be a big moment for Liquid. 4 of them still standing. Vex has 5 kills, though. Aitzzy on the other side. But now begins the hunt for Liquid. They are hungry for this one. 4 players. There is not a world where I see them drop this, but Vex has been a beast in the past, but now he's looking battered and bruised and a little sore from the fights before. Another piece of utility, more flashes, more stuns, more everything being poured down. Vex's vision must be down to 0. You can see how meticulous they're being, though, how cautious they're being. Vex is still undiscovered, peeks out, says hello, and Jeem says goodbye. We're down to just 80 now, and it looks like a Liquid win if I've ever seen one, and it is. They even grabbed the points. 10 kills for Liquid, and I've got to say, a little bit more